Welcome to CMMC Unacknowledged, where we answer the unanswered questions that were asked during the monthly CMMC-AB Townhall meetings. My name is Todd Stanton. I'm the Regional Sales Manager for all things CMMC at Etactics, and as always, I'll be joined by Ty Wittenberg. Ty is the Senior Information Assurance Manager at Rain Associates. Welcome, Ty.
Hey, good morning, Todd. How are you?
Very good. I'm excited about our conversation today. All right, on this episode, we're going to talk about what is it that's preventing authorized C3PAOs today from conducting any voluntary assessments?
So, you and I chatted very briefly about this, and we feel that there's a couple different elements, but the first thing I feel is that because this the final CMMC ruling hasn't taken place and become part of the code of federal regulations, that's one element of C3PAOs conducting voluntary assessments. But more importantly, the context in there, right, is the CMC assessment process, or better known when you listen in the AB Townhall calls, the CAP, is not solidified yet. We should have some information coming from the CMMC-AB in this month in regards to that. But then, there's clearly the new update to the plan of action and milestones policy has not been fully vetted or clarified yet, or finalized, I should say, nor the dispute resolution policy. And none of us really know how the waiver policy is going to work, right? Because it still has the waiver policy. If you get a waiver, it's got to be signed off on by the Pentagon and the Department of Defense. So I think those are some of the things that are impacting voluntary assessments today that C3PAOs could conduct.
And I know, Matt Travis is always the optimist and, believes that the voluntary assessment program will be starting hopefully before the next town hall. It seems like he's had that opinion for the last couple months. I did hear from, anecdotally, another C3PAO who estimated that cap wouldn't be done until July. But I think that is kind of the big holdup now for these authorized C3PAOs, of which the marketplace only lists 6. I believe I saw, something on LinkedIn that there was maybe a 7th that was added, but I kind of wait until, these C3PAOs get listed in the marketplace as the definitive, proof that they've been authorized. But I think that is kind of the holding point now. And I'm hopeful it's sooner rather than later, but I guess July is only a couple months away at this point. Let me ask you this. Once the cap is in place, do you think that the DoD will have an incentive program at the same time, or do you think that will, take additional time beyond that cap document being released?
I think that's purely speculative, but I think if you want to drive some initial champions, right, and because this is really like a cultural change in the defense industrial base, I would hope that there would be incentives, right? Just like any good campaign, a lot of times they get some people to be early adopters, or folks that might have been mid adopters or late adopters to jump on the train a little bit sooner. An incentive kind of helps. But more importantly, I think as an organization seeking certification, if you want to have a market differentiator, having your CMMC assessment and passing that and having your CMMC level 2 is kind of a branding badge for your organization, whatever you do in partnership with the DIB. I think that could be a great, not that compliance is marketing, but I think it can be showcased on the level of your engagement and the process that needs to happen. And how you see safeguarding the importance of federal contract information and controlled unclassified information is for your organization and the nation, that you might be able to garner more market share of requests for quotes and requests for proposals.
And I will add to that in some conversations I've had with insurance groups in the space is maybe get a discount on your insurance as well, right? If you've gone through a CMMC assessment and passed and been certified for level 2, I believe that insurance companies are now looking at that as kind of a green check that will reduce some of their risk taking out a cyber policy with your organization.
Most definitely. I mean, think about it. If you go through this process, it really raises your risk maturity as well, too, as an organization. So I think those are fantastic things to highlight for an organization as a plus.
Let me just play devil's advocate a little bit and say, if I were looking at this from an organization seeking certification standpoint, one of the things I would weigh would be the cost. And with the limited capacity, which we've talked about, I would think that the cost to do business with a C3PAO today would probably be higher because there's only 7 that are out there. And I imagine, with 18,000 companies needing a certification the first year, there's going to be incredible demand to be one of these early adopters and participate in the voluntary program. So my question to you, given that pricing might be inflated early in the process, would you still recommend to your customer to proceed if you believe the cost would be lower once the ecosystem matures and those 474 C3PAOs that are in the queue become authorized to actually do assessments?
So I think what you're talking about is a capacity planning piece. Will it be a little bit more expensive in the beginning? Possibility, but when I think of capacity planning, if you're like a lot of organizations or people for that matter that suffer from the procrastination bug a little bit, just like if you have more folks out there but you've waited towards the end, people's calendars fill up. And in a previous episode, we talked about organizations needed C3PAOs doing about 35 a year of these engagements. Well, depending on the importance for a contract for you and stuff like that, workload for other projects that they may have going on, because a lot of these organizations are cybersecurity firms that are focused on governance, risk, and compliance and other areas as well too. Capacity becomes a play. So an early adopter, while it might be a little bit more expensive in the beginning, I think from potential to win or lose opportunities on quotes and bids might outweigh that to get it done sooner versus later.
And I mean, if recent history has told us anything, waiting to make that big purchase decision is maybe not the best decision.
Yeah,
I'm in the market buying a minivan right now, and I've been holding off thinking the supply chain thing is going to ease, but I don't see that happening anytime soon now. So
it's funny that you say the minivan thing. So I'm proud of you for getting a minivan, but 2, I'm sort of in the market as well for a vehicle, but I keep telling myself now that I've waited, I refuse to pay that high price, and I'm going to weigh it out, right? But if I'm an organization that my livelihood and my top line revenue is driven by my engagement and the DIB and winning some of these quotes and these jobs, that could have a significant financial impact on my top line revenue and on my bottom line. As a business leader, if I was in doing that business in the DIB, I would want to be an early adopter and on the front end of it. And then I would partner with my procurement team or sales team, however you want to look at it, to utilize our CMMC level 2 as a branding tool and go after more business.
And yeah, to your point, you're going to be one of the few companies that can say, you've already gone through the certification assessment and passed. There's probably not going to be as much competition at that point, with other vendors having done the same thing. So you're taking that cost, even though it might be somewhat inflated, to generate more revenue and get a better return on that investment, if you will.
Exactly.
Well, always appreciate your opinion, Ty. Thank you very much for your time today, and we'll talk to you next time.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Todd. Have a good one.